searching for you. I'm still searching for you. From dirt to the sky, I'm still searching for you. 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 I'm still from dirt to the sky. I'm still searching for you.
Gotta get out of here, understand? You included.
To the sky, I'm still searching for you. 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 I'm still from dirt to the sky. I'm still searching for you.
Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. This is your T-shirted historian, and tonight we've got something kind of special. Normally, you can catch us on Saturdays and Tuesdays, but tonight we had kind of a request to come on the show and hang out and talk to him. So I have to preface this by saying I don't have a bunch of questions prepared. I know almost nothing about this guest, or these guests, I should say. So it's going to be kind of fun to learn about who they are and what they're doing in the RPG world and in the industry. I've seen a little bit of their stuff on Twitter, and I like what I've seen so far. So I'm happy to have them on. But welcome all you guys from all the RPGs.
Hey, thanks for having us.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah,
All right.
super excited to be here, man. By the way, my name's Sean Schultz. I'm co-founder of alltherpgs.com. And yeah, I'm ready to talk geek stuff and chat about what we're building.
All right. Well, that's awesome.
And I'm just
Okay.
here for the free chips.
Oh, dang. Well, I'll make sure I get some salsa for you then.
Thanks.
All right. So, oh yeah, and so here's some of our audience out here. We've got Squeak a Mouse. We've got our Snortapoopas, who helps our channel out, and we couldn't make it without him. Mercurius, how you doing over there in Australia? And Cal Vanoni, yeah, you have no clue who they are. Hey, join the crowd. This is part of what this is all about. So, okay, let's start off with the basic then. Who are you guys? What is all the RPGs?
Yeah, thanks. Great question. So we're creating a hub for all TTRPGs, and which sounds like an ambitious goal, but we got. Let me give you some background real quick. I don't know if you or your listeners remember an old game from BioWare called Neverwinter Nights. Sorry.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
You remember that game? Well,
Yeah.
back in 2000, I created a site called NeverwinterConnections.com that was the #1 matchmaking system for dungeon masters and players for that. And it was featured on BioWare's website, where they would actually list all those games on their main website and so forth. So we hosted more games for them, and then GameSpy and those others. If you guys remember GameSpy,
I do.
yeah. So we built that back then, and just recently with what happened with Wizards of the Coast misstep, their really bad blunder, we were like, we should resurrect that and bring back matchmaking, but make it for all RPG games. Bring back, and then bring some, open APIs as well, which D&D Beyond doesn't support, and also bring forward some e-commerce as well, because the DMs Guild takes 50% of whatever you sell on there. So we're like, yeah, that's crap. And so we're like, let's get something out there that supports the community and brings artists to the front and all of that kind of stuff. So we're back from 2001, and we're building a new system to do that. So that's what we are.
Well, dang. Well, okay, you already got my vote of confidence.
Excellent.
Yeah, because that's one thing I've been seeing these last few years, especially tuning into my friend Grimm's live cast and stuff. He does a lot of work through Roll20. Yeah. And I've played with it too. I am not a big fan of their policies and the way that they handle things. They seem to be very draconian, and they seem to be more about limiting who can have access or controlling the kinds of people who can have access and what is done on their platform. And to me, that's kind of like, well, that's kind of the opposite of what you want to do with an RPG, because you want to bring people in to play, not exclude people based on whatever criteria you have. Yeah,
and you mentioned Roll20. Roll20 is what we call a game platform, right? We're more of a, I'm not disagreeing with you. We're more of a social hub, matchmaking, all of that kind of stuff. And we want to support game platforms and game systems out there. So I would equate us closer to like D&D Beyond, but imagine it supporting all RPG systems, right? Like thousands of them if we can. So, and support character creation and all of that. So, but yeah, dang. I think that's a big problem right now. Is we've these groups have grown large. D&D Beyond's been bought a couple times now. Wizards of the Coast now owns them, and it gets a little bit more degraded each time. So we're trying to step in and support everything to the best of our ability. So
that is something that actually aggravated me. I'm not the biggest fan of 5th edition, not because the rule system is bad.
Right.
I mean, it's like any other rule system. The things that you don't like, you can take out, or you can add things to it to make it better. But the culture that has grown up around 5th edition has kind of turned me off a bit. And I've played 5th edition under several different groups, and every time the experience hasn't been really enjoyable for various reasons.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just too grognardy. I don't know. But yeah, a lot of the 5th edition crowd seems to be, very exclusionary, and that's not cool.
Well, yeah, that frequently comes from the walled garden thing, right? Like when you create a platform like D&D Beyond, and you're the only ones that can afford to create a platform like that. You then wall it off so it only supports your products, and we see where that's going. It's going to get worse too. We need something out there that supports everything. I like 5th edition, but I also like 3rd edition. I also like 2nd edition, and I just played 2 weeks. No, wait, not 2 weeks ago. About 2 months ago, I was playing Delta Green, which I absolutely love. A little bit of Call of Cthulhu.
Oh yeah.
And then last night we played another awesome game called Public Access, which I'd quote the name of the author of that, but fun little, definitely an indie game, but totally different. And those are the groups we want to support. We want to support everybody, and and we want to gamify it too, to say, you haven't tried public access. If you try it, you get some experience points basically as a gamer to go try to join somebody's public access game and learn how to play it, that kind of thing.
I like that. And see, I wish my friend Grim was here, because I would point out one of the first things that would be cool about that is right now, Grim and we alternate Sundays running games. I have a steady campaign of Darwin's World that I run.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm very familiar with it.
Yeah. I did a little work on it too. But Grim is kind of using his Sundays to run one-shots of his giant stack of games. So every week we're playing something new and different. And if he were using a platform like yours, there would be so many opportunities for all kinds of players to try out all these systems that they've heard of. Because, I mean, we've done Cypher System, we've done Burning Wheel, we've done West End Games, D6-based Star Wars. We've just done everything. In fact, we did Abney Park's Airship Pirates last week, and I hadn't even heard of that game.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one either. The other ones you brought up, I have, though. Hey, Jeff, that's I hear awesome. You echoing. Are you trying to say something, dude?
Well, I was going to, but I'm trying to figure my mic having issues. But no, yeah, that's awesome that you guys are playing so many different games. For me, D&D, I really enjoy playing D&D. I'll preface my comment by that, but D&D has almost had like a monopoly on the TTRPGs for people who didn't grow up with playing TTRPGs. Like I only started playing maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and for getting late into the game and trying to find a community, it's hard to find you can find people that know D&D, or you can go to D&D Beyond and try to learn it, and there's enough tools out there to pick up these games. But some of these indie games, they just don't have the resources to build these online tools. And frankly, I've been digging into Blades in the Dark, and like that game, which is if there was a game designed just for me, that's it, right? And so, but without these online tools, it's just hard to pick those games up and try to convince other people to play it and learn it.
Well, yeah. I'm gonna toss one at you that and my regulars know these games very, very well, because I constantly bring them up to the point where we actually have a drinking game on stream, or if I mention either the author or one of these games, people have to take a drink. But all of the game systems that are written by Kevin Crawford are my personal favorites, and we're talking stuff like Scarlet Heroes, Worlds Without Number, Cities Without Number, Spears of Dawn, Wolves of God, all these different games that he's made that are all basically OSR products, but they do such really cool things with those basic rules. They can elevate and change your basic D&D rules to something that is so fantastic, especially stuff like Godbound, which he wrote. And believe me, if you guys ever start writing up stuff to support that, especially the insane amounts of random tables that he includes with his games, man, I would totally just I'd kiss your feet on that one.
Well, it sounds like we need to support that then.
Literally taking a note of that right now, adding it to my to-do list.
Wait, like a note of him kissing your feet?
Whatever. Yeah, whatever.
Sure, but also support the game as a byproduct.
Yeah, we're building a system so that we already support Shadow Dark, which is very similar to OSR, right? I mean, it's almost there. And with that system, as we support that first one, that's the first game we're going to support out of the box. And but what it does is it allows us to, and what we mean by support, by the way, we mean characters primarily to begin with, is that you will be able to create a character in Shadow Dark, but then we as programmers will then take that and we can multiply it, or however you want to say, copy it over to other OSR style games with very little effort, because the rules are small changes generally from one OSR style game to the next. And so then we'll move up in difficulty a bit, and we'll go to other platforms, like Age of Apocalypse or something else. Obviously, I want to go to Delta Green right away because I'm a fan of it, but that would hit all the Call of Cthulhu games then at that point, where it's a very small step to the right to get to the other ones. And then we're going to make it so that we're going to create a character generator for Shadow Dark and put that out. All of our character generators and our definitions will all be open source. Nice. So that you can go out and see how they're done. You can then copy a character generator for Shadow Dark and say, I'm going to make a character generator for this game. And then community-wise, we can then multiply our efforts and try to get all these games. So I think getting to that, Kevin Crawford games, I don't think is that big of a deal for the most part. So, and then everything else is fairly generic, so you can do matchmaking with it after that point, and everything else, it shouldn't be that bad. So,
well, I'm also hoping that you will include lots and lots of GM tools for that, especially for the generation tables. Because let me kind of give you a preview of what I'm talking about here. This is Worlds Without Number. And this is just at the start of where you're actually building your campaign stuff, because Crawford is very big on sandbox gaming, right? So this is where all the dice rolling starts, because first he's building the geography, and then we have all these terrain features, and then we have all the nation building stuff, and then the themes, and then we get down to the actual society of physical appearances, values, societal organizations, aesthetics, government constructions, everything. I mean,
yeah,
this is how.
That's awesome. Awesome.
You see how many tables that we have to deal with, and it's kind of like, man, if there was like an automated way to do this, where it was like a one-click system, it would be insanely awesome, and it would be super valuable.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest, we haven't really planned a lot of like GM tools, so to speak, like creating worlds and so forth. But we want to, we're always looking for new features to add to what we've already got planned. And so it's definitely a possibility. When we generate characters, we're gonna have metadata tables that people can put into each one of them, so that you can have custom roles and everything else inside of it. So I think we can get there, and especially hearing your desire for something like that. The more we hear from the community that they want those kind of tools. Another thing we want to do is we also, you always have to be careful. We don't want to reproduce all those tables without the author's permission either, right? And so we have to always be aware of that. And we want to give the authors capability that if they sell something on the e-commerce site, they can easily turn it into a tool as well. So that if you purchase something from Kevin and you now have those tables available to you on our site, kind of thing. So I've been thinking about that more from a character creation standpoint than from a GM world building standpoint, but to push it into that realm isn't too far fetched.
No, that would be super helpful for GMs, because I primarily live on both sides of the screen as far as the GMs go. I run games, I play games. Early on, getting into 5th edition, the D&D Beyond stuff was insanely helpful. And of course, like anybody else, I bought lots of books to support their stuff, but I started to notice all the microtransaction type stuff, and it was a little irritating. But once I got used to it, it's kind of like, okay, well, they got to make their money, so it is what it is, and they're the only game in town. So if I want this convenience, I'm going to have to pay for it.
Right.
So I was, as annoyed as I was fine with it up until then. But it was when they started, automatically updating all my books and things without my permission, I started to get kind of a little bit more irritated with it because, I have the original Volo's guide and other things, and that was one of the first things that they started hacking into. So overnight, all my stuff online had changed, even though I had a physical book that said something different.
Yep.
And I
Totally
did not
agree.
like that. I did not like that.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah, it's tough, especially for us older people, of going fully digital on our books to begin with, and then to have somebody jerk it around underneath us really sucks.
Yes.
And they've begun to also phase out their books on D&D
Yes.
Beyond, right? And you still own it if you paid for it, but it's now in kind of a different section saying it's a second-class citizen kind of thing. Yeah. So, yeah, we're very aware of that kind of thing. We're not interested in microtransactions on what we're building. We're going to copy a little bit of what D&D Beyond did well, and that is like it's a free. A lot of it's a free model, and that's what we're going for. Is it's a free model. You can do up to X number of characters before you have a very cheap subscription, or you can run X number of campaigns. Have 5 campaigns running simultaneously. Otherwise, you have to pay a bit, stuff like that. So we're going with that same type of model.
I like that.
Yeah, but we're not going to do the microtransaction thing. Now, obviously, if there's an author out there and they've got a store on our e-commerce site kind of thing, and they want to sell a bunch of small things, that's totally up to them. But we're not going to do something like that.
Well, and that brings up another interesting question. I'm sure it's not a surprise to you. I mean, you've already mentioned DM's Guild, so I'm sure you're aware that Drive-Thru RPG pretty much is, the big game in town as far as selling TTRPG products. I mean, you do have some competitors, who are kind of mostly unknown, but we're trying to support them here on this channel, like Big Geek Emporium, Giant Slayer Games, and of course post-mort.com. So I'm curious how your company is going to handle a lot of these smaller publishers and things like that, because some of them have what's considered by Drive-Thru RPG to be controversial or maybe unpopular topics and things like that. Some of my friends like Venger Satanas have come into conflict with them. James Edward Radji's Lamentations of the Flame Princess has had problems with them in the past. Grimm has had, I think, a few problems with them here and there. And of course, there's other guys who have, just had various, little peccadillos with them, including some of my favorite people out there, the Red Room, who were kicked off of Drive-Thru RPG completely.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'd like to hear more about that at some point.
Okay.
I wasn't aware of that. But our idea at the moment, and keep in mind their ideas, and we want the community to help us form these ideas. But right now we've got two primary ways of supporting authors or content creators like that. First of all, one is the e-commerce store. And just to mention that real quick, is we thought we'd have a content warning, that kind of thing, of be sure you're over 18. We'd probably ban pornographic items, but we have to talk through that. And to be honest, we haven't really talked through that too much. We've only talked about mature content warnings.
Okay.
But everybody be able to create a store basically and have their products. Their products could be listed on their profile pages as well, not just their store page. And then the other primary method we have for creators is if you have a game, we'll just use Delta Green as an example, and you're the author or a company that runs Delta Green, we will validate you like Twitter does, the old Twitter before they charged for the blue check mark. But we'd validate you and then give you ownership of the landing page for Delta Green on our site. So you would then have that page. You could edit it through a content management system. You could list you could show. We have some default things that we would show on that page. You could turn it off, of course, but we could show you how many people are playing this game, how many game masters have marked it as a favorite, how many games are currently scheduled. And then you can also list your Twitter feed. You can put in the latest news. You can do all that kind of stuff as well. So we have those two mechanisms right now programmed and ready to go. The e-commerce, or I shouldn't say the e-commerce is ready to go, but the other one is. We're still working on the e-commerce, but that's kind of what we got planned. But yeah, getting more information around what kind of content controls we should have for mature content or immature, as your chat just said. Having some guidance from the community would be great on that, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and sorry, just to chime in here, we also talked about like how we're gonna rate players and allow players to rate, their party and also their GMs, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
That's something else we can do to kind of verify all these different games and content creation, right? Is we can have them either create a label or a tag that they can say, hey, this is pretty explicit or pretty mature, or this has to do with something that may be offensive to some people, so then people just know what they're getting into beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely. We allow you guys to mark games, etc., that are adults only, all that kind of stuff. So that's
okay.
Fair.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're already familiar with Darwin's World, you know that it's pretty raw at times because it's dealing with some very mature subject matter. I mean, it's post-apocalypse, and it's not the cute, funny post-apocalypse like, say Gamma World. And I'm not throwing any shade on James Ward. James Ward's a great guy. I've played under him. I've gotten my character killed by him. But I think most people who've read Darwin's World and read Gamma World can see that the tone of the two games is vastly different.
Yep. I think I started playing Darwin's World around 2003, I think. Mm-hmm. We played it for, about a season, I should say. And mm-hmm. we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite post-apocalypse game. But
yeah, I would say it's probably mine as well. Another game that we played in that same time frame that we really liked was Fading Suns.
Oh yeah,
with the suns going dark, kind of a fantasy in space, but more of a political intrigue with swords and all this kind of stuff. Not really laser swords, but that was a great campaign setting too. So yeah, Darwin's World and that, we played both of those games in the same year, I think.
Okay. I'm going to have another one of my panelists kind of pop in just in case I miss something. His name is Kringe.
Excellent.
As soon as he gets on. Dang. I'm really wishing that I'd pulled you on a Saturday now, because I can already kind of tell that Grim and Victor and probably Greg would have had a lot of questions because
we'll have to do it another time.
Absolutely, yeah. I hate to schedule an interview on the air, but yeah, if you guys take a look at your calendars, if you're not doing anything on the 21st in the afternoon, I would definitely like to get you guys back to talk to our full panel, because I know after seeing this interview, those guys are going to have questions.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and here's Kringe. Hey, man.
Hello. How have you been? It's been a while since I've been on screen with you.
Yeah, it has been.
Hey, Kringe.
Hello. So, okay, this might be a little rough for me to come in, but what exactly is all the RPGs?
So we have, let me approach it a different way. We have 4 pillars that we're going with. We're going with matchmaking, characters, e-commerce, and open APIs in a hub style website with some social items as well. So, and it would support all TTRPGs in theory. And what I mean by in theory is that nothing would be holding those back. We just have to get some form fillable PDFs uploaded or JSON described character sheets designed or some character generators built. Our system supports all those methods of creating characters and stuff. So
Like that.
yeah, so that's what it is. Does that answer
So
your question?
it's a virtual tabletop plus extra.
Well, you know what? It's kind of funny. I wouldn't put it in a virtual tabletop because it's
I
more.
just say virtual tabletop as playing over the internet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So ours is really about bringing groups of people together to schedule games and things like that. So that's what it is.
So it's kind of like a what's that website? A Meetup, but online.
Yeah, it is kind of like Meetup for TTRPGs. It's kind of like that.
I like it. I dig it. Oh, I'm also a bit distracted. My dog is being a dog.
Yeah, that happens. That happens. I had to kick mine out of here, or else it would have been very noisy.
If I kicked her out and shut the door, she would just sit outside and howl.
Oh. Well, yeah, I definitely think I'm gonna have to get these guys back on with the full panel because I know I'm gonna miss. I know there are questions that Grim and Greg and probably Victor are gonna have.
Greg would probably have a ton of questions.
Yeah, he always does.
Yeah, well, we
Especially
love
with
answering
his
them.
little project too. So
Yeah.
We love answering them, and I think the other value of us coming on to shows like yours is is hearing your perspectives on what we should be supporting. And you know how it goes on Twitter or anything else. You ask a group of people that, and it doesn't go as well as just having a.
Will you support Fatal?
Oh no! Jeez.
Do me a favor and describe Fatal for me.
Oh
Okay.
no!
Fatal
no.
is the date rape RPG without the date.
Oh, no! I don't think anybody seriously plays Fatal. I really don't.
Nobody seriously plays Fatal because it's a 26-page character sheet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Yeah, see, this is my first exposure to that. So,
did you say 26 pages?
About that?
Yes.
Yikes.
There are like 6 stats, and each stat has about 20 like something.
It's
been a long time since I read the 500-page rulebook.
It's a joke, really. RPG. I mean, it has tables for things like generating anal circumference and stuff. I mean,
oh my god.
Yeah, I wish I was kidding you. I'm not kidding you.
Fatal is actually an acronym where it's like fantasy adventures to adult lechery or some stupid thing like that.
Yeah, it's horrible.
There's
both. I have seriously plays that.
I have both editions. So
I feel a Wikipedia trap coming up for me where I'm going to be at it for hours probably.
Just look up the Fatal review, and that's all you'll need to know.
There you go.
If it makes it any better, I think the rules are actually free. So. Not that you really want to read them.
I don't think it's like supported at all anymore. So, but I could give you the PDFs if you want. I don't know why you would, but I collect these RPGs.
Yeah, just somebody's got to collect them, right?
Just take a shower after you read it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
then exercise your computer because it's a PDF.
Yeah. To answer the broader question, it again, content warnings. We haven't established anything about something as outrageous as that one.
Yeah, no, I just use Fatal because I wanted to go.
Yeah,
I start as far as I can, and then we'll work it back.
Yeah, Kringay did the nuclear option.
No, that's not even the nuclear option. So
should we mark it as Kringay only?
if you want, I mean, I'm not going to play it.
Okay, maybe not then.
Yeah, Patty's Parlor actually brings up another one, and this is from our friends at Red Room. But there's Men, the Manly RPG, which is also a very, very tongue-in-cheek, probably not meant to be taken too seriously game that is definitely. Well, actually, I think this is the one that got the Red Room kicked off. It's not their normal fare, just FYI. They're normal
grindcore. So if you do have like a adult section, they'd be in there regardless.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah,
but for the best reasons, because it is adult themes, adult situations, and material. It's not necessarily sexual, but
yeah, it's like I said, it's grindcore.
Yeah.
If you do like the adult sections, would you be able to have RPGs in both? Because you can do adult D&D.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it wouldn't be like system that would be tagged; it would be the individual games.
So let me divide it this way. This is a good discussion. I could see us supporting any type of RPG as long as it's marked properly for matchmaking and playing and arranging a game with one another. It could be fatal for all I care. But when it comes to the e-commerce site, let me tell you guys the deciding factor. And this might be because I come from damn near 30 years of writing e-commerce websites at this point. And this might be why they made this decision, just so you guys know, is that, and it's the same problem with OnlyFans and those, is that if there's actually in your contract with these payment systems where they will not support things, they have a whole list of things. They have a list of, we won't do cannabis, we won't do, man, all of those just flew out of my head. Gambling, we won't do pornography, we won't do that. If you're caught taking money for those items, then they will drop you. They have the option to drop you. So that might be what happened.
Are lawful evil. So
yeah, so that might be what happened. And so we've got to dance around those same things or try to come up with a payment platform that allows that very narrow slice of TTRPGs.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I mean, I have been hit because I grew up in like the New York City metro area, and sometimes you can't play in somebody's house. So there's like, lunch, like cafeterias and shit like that, where we would sit and play, and they could hit you with, because you're using dice, they could say that's gambling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And God forbid you played, like, say, Savage Worlds, which uses poker chips and cards.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and I've got some questions from the chat here. And like Patty's Parlor has a great one, and he's a designer. He says, but what type of verification would there be to keep children out of the adult RPG matchmaking? Because there might be some really bad openings for child harm.
Yeah, that's a great question. So what we've got is when you create a profile, you can put in your age, you put in all of that kind of thing, and then we'll filter matchmake games by your age, basically. So if somebody marks it 18 plus, you won't even see it in your list if you're below that. Now, obviously, a child could lie or something like that, and there's not many ways.
Lying on the internet? I've never heard of that.
Yeah. There's not many ways of getting around that besides the Airbnb method, where show me your ID number or your take a picture of your license or something. I mean, it becomes a lot harder. So we're going with that methodology, and then also we haven't really got into how do we do matchmaking, but you can go in and you can create a game and you can say it's for Fatal. You can mark it as adult only.
I love how Fatal has become the adult benchmark.
Yeah. Sorry, you messed it up, man. You totally messed it up.
I mean, if you want a more serious game that people actually play that would be adult, just say Shadows of the Demon Lord.
Okay.
Yeah, that is a good one.
It is a very good game. It is a solid system. I'm a fan of it. And there's a spell where you can cause someone to shit themselves to death.
Okay.
Yeah, he's absolutely not kidding.
You create Shadows of the Demon Lord game and you say it's on this date and I'm looking for this many players, and then you have the option of setting the type of game it is, like what kind of people are you allowing into the game. And what I mean by that is you can say it's a open game, it's a password only game, it's a so in other words, your friends have to have the password. And this is one of the most popular from my time back in 2001 is it's called an application game, and it basically allows you as the person creating the matchmaking to ask them a question or a series of questions, and they have to answer it. And then when you publish that game, so to speak, anybody who tries to join it gets asked that question. They have to answer it, and then you get to approve who joins that game. So you may get 30 requests to join the game. You whittle it down to 5 or 6 people, and you could do a Leisure Suit Larry kind of questionnaire.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I'm old enough to remember that.
By the way, I'm thinking outside the box at this point for your question, but you could ask things like that. But there's going to be ways for you to have a few ways for you to decide if this is a child or something like that. And obviously there's another thing is we have, special rules that you can put in there that say, by the way, this is how we handle safety in the game. This is the kind of subject matter we're going to be discussing. all the common things you want to tell a group of players ahead of time, for good or bad, that kind of thing that you're
The
preventing.
much hated by certain groups session 0, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And so those are our safety measures. And then there's one more safety measure that Wade brought up, which is after the game takes place, you're asked to review and comment on the GM and the other players. And it's nothing onerous. It's like a thumbs up, thumbs down.
Kind of like when you get an Uber ride and they're like, rate your driver.
Yeah, exactly. And you can also, by the way, tip your game master too. Even if you're not we don't want to cater to necessarily professional GMs. We want to offer that as an option, but we don't want it to take over the platform. But if you want to accept a tip from your guys, that's cool. But you're able to say thumbs up, thumbs down. You're also able to mark somebody that didn't show up to your game. And then you're able to also just give some comments in there. Like you could comment in there, if a child joined your game for your session 0, you can say, hey, this was an adult only game. I had to kick this person out. They're actually a child and so forth. So,
I like that.
We have a few mechanisms there. As you guys know, the internet, nothing's foolproof. It's really going to come down to the other players and the GM to make sure.
Yeah, if someone wants to break it, they will.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So,
which is a statement that can be used about RPGs and the internet.
That is correct. Yes.
Any system that is gameable.
Yeah.
I mean, I played World of Darkness for a while, so yeah.
So I think coming back to the adult only pornographic, whatever you want to call it, mature question is, it's going to come down to our payment provider and trying to follow their guidelines so we don't get the rug yanked out from underneath us from operating. And that's just what you got to do.
Yeah,
now,
and I can
know
understand
if this
that.
was answered. Is this website a subscription service or is it like freemium?
It's free. Everything about the site is free unless you want, if you go over the minimums of, say, X number of characters, X number of campaigns.
So it's a freemium model. Like the base is free, but you could buy extras.
Yep. And then we're going to have another thing where really, this probably won't be phase 1, but we've got plans for it, is to have, we're going to have a chat system on the site. And then whenever you schedule a game, you'll have a chat window there that you can talk to the people that have joined your game ahead of the game, so you can work through things. And that will probably end up being premium because of chat hosting and stuff.
And also, I'm going to be 100% honest, a lot of gamers would probably just use it for the interface and talk on Discord.
Absolutely. Yep.
So
totally.
I wouldn't like, I mean, it's important to set up just to have it. It's a feature you should have, but I wouldn't make it a priority.
Yep. Yeah. You're thinking the same way we are. Other than your collection of Fatal. Yep.
There's only one. There's only 2 books, and I just have them both.
Cool. Good questions, though.
Yeah, I'm definitely, like I said, I know I'm going to be forgetting to ask a lot of things, and I know that my other panelists. I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Oh no.
Yeah. See, I kind of feel good now that I'm kind of like one of the first people to talk to you guys, because I am in contact with a lot of bigger channels, people like RPG Pundit, people like Grim, OGGM, all these other guys. They are going to want to come out of the woodwork to talk to you guys about this, because I have a feeling you're going to hit something much, much bigger than you expected. Not in a negative way, but just the interest that you guys are going to get in this kind of a project is going to be huge.
Yeah, that's great. I think the more people that we can connect with, the better we can make it achieve what the community wants. Because yes, there's a profit thing that we're after, obviously, but more so we want to have a healthy, supportive site that helps people find each other, play together, and support each other's artwork. And like you were saying before, the opportunity to play all these other games that people just aren't exposed to today is exciting. It's so much fun.
She's got some good questions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Squeaka has a good one right here too. She's got a couple here. And I love Squeaka. She used to be one of our panelists, but she says, would you be able to see the game's duration, say you wanted to join a one-shot? I'm kind of guessing yes. But
Yep. And we also have the ability to mark a game as an educational game. So like beginner-friendly, and you want to learn the rules. And
good.
And you can do one-shots, you can do mini-campaign, and you can do campaign as well. And each game, also to drill into that question, you can also see how long is the game scheduled for that evening? Is it a 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour one shot, etc.?
Okay. And she has some other really good questions. Squeaka, you want me just to send you a link? Because seriously, I want you to get on here. But she says, what about harassment from other players? Can people leave games in addition to being booted? And is there some kind of reporting system? Not saying anything about anyone here, but crazies are out there, and they are.
Yeah. Yes to both. Now, keep in mind, we're not a game platform, so we're not a Roll20. We're literally when you create a game, Squeaka, you can say this game uses Zoom and it uses Roll20 or Discord and Roll20, whatever. They can click on those to learn about them, that kind of thing. Like when we practice with our own tool, I set it up for Tailspire because I'm a huge fan of Tailspire all the time. And so, yeah, if you join a game and you're harassed, you can absolutely review them. You can give them a thumbs down. You can also report them to say, hey, I was harassed. This was a terrible experience. And then we will investigate it, understand it. And we can then mine the data. We wouldn't otherwise, but we can mine the data to see how many other people have done this or reported this harassment. And then we can ban them from the site, that kind of thing. So, another aspect of this, I briefly mentioned this at the beginning, that this site is going to use gamification, not because we want you to be addicted. It's more to drive people to try new things. So like
every achievement for trying an RPG you haven't played before, stuff like that.
Yep.
So basically like Xbox achievements.
Yep, it's Xbox achievements. And you'll be able to see everybody's stats. So you'll be able to see that every time you review somebody, you'll get experience points. Every time you game master a game, you'll get experience points. You'll get a bonus for game mastering a game you've never game mastered before on our site. And those kind of things that drive people to try new things, to host new players. And then you go up in levels as a game master and a player. And then you can have a different level for each game that you run, like Darwin's World or Blades in the Dark. You can have a different level between those two, but your combined level is this. And then you can also see what others have said about that person. Now we're going to give people the ability to...
I apologize.
Yeah.
We're going to give people the ability to remove... By the way, whenever you measure something, whenever you institute metrics, they have to change occasionally because people will change their behaviors around metrics, right?
True.
That's a statistical fact. And so our going in position right now is that we're going to let you remove a bad review like once. I'm going to just throw a time frame out there, like once a week or something, or once a month. I don't know what that time frame is yet, and we're going to have to tweak that so that if somebody's just griefing you and saying this guy was an ass, and because he marked me as having missed the game and I didn't miss it, those kind of stupid things that can occur. That way you can go ahead and remove that kind of thing occasionally. But we don't want to do that if somebody marks them as a harasser. We're not going to necessarily publish that either. We're going to investigate it, understand it. But it is a complex subject, what we're trying to do there. We've got to feel it out. And see the best path forward. But it's top of our mind constantly. How do we deal with that?
All right. I guess a really big question I should ask is...
Actually, before we get into a big question, that's the statement I said I wanted to ask them, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay.
Now, this goes back to something T-Shirt said a little bit ago, where he's in contact with people like Pundit and Grim, and you invite these people, you will get attacked. How do you plan on dealing with that?
I think,
Especially people like Grimm, because Grimm is getting shit from stuff he said over a decade ago.
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I love Grimm. I'm not attacking him, but people go after them, especially people like Pundit. These are people who are. Pundit is basically a WWE villain from the Attitude Era, and that's his persona, and he plays into it.
Yeah, I think what Kringe's kind of trying to say is like, by inviting a lot of indie creators to this, which is a good thing, by the way.
Oh, no, I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm not saying you should, but indie creators are they attack each other.
Well, not just the creators, but also like I said, the culture that has grown up around the 5th edition game tends to attack a lot of these indie creators, and it tends to attack them very, very difficult. Very, very hard.
Yeah. Well, it's a great question. I think. So real quick, when I say you can review people, it's really only the people that you were scheduled in a game with and that you completed the game with, or you know what I mean?
It's not going to be on the reviews. They're going to go after you on Twitter for platforming these people.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm curious to how you plan on handling that. How are you going to weather the storm that's going to come for you?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Thank you for asking that, because I haven't given that a lot of thought. I'll just be totally honest.
I'm someone who, for a time, was a minor boogeyman in the TTRPG space on Twitter, so I understand what they go through.
Yep, makes sense. Well, we're always going to try to be transparent, but we know how well that works as well on the Twitterverse. So we'll just try to weather it. We'll have to talk through that as a group on how we're going to do that. But again, that's the great thing about coming on your guys' show, is to get these kind of perspectives we haven't had before.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to jump in here. I mean, a piece of this is, we're trying to build this and, hopping on these shows, get these different viewpoints and everything, but we're trying to get the community to also help us build it as well. We're going to be opening up betas here soon at some point and all of that. And so just getting these, insights are super valuable. So there's things that we can start talking about beforehand to try and avoid these situations or deal with them. And if we see, hey, this one account is just aggressively attacking these other content creators or the content that they have done, then maybe we make it so they can't leave reviews.
Yeah.
Just
Review
an
bombing is a
idea.
thing.
That's not solidified, but just throwing something out. So we really appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, I just saw a question from Patty's Parlor. We're hosting on AWS using serverless. That's what we're using. We're using Next.js and Nest.js for the back end. We've got a team. I have a side company where I employ offshore developers, and we've got 2 full-time developers working on this, and we're based on placing more developers. We're hoping to get probably a total of 6 developers working full-time on this shortly. So that's our hope. So. But we've been working on this for months. We're pretty far along at the moment. So,
okay. Well, that kind of dovetails really nicely into my question, which is, how soon is this going to be available and ready to go?
I think we're aiming right now for a beta around the 1st of the year.
Nice.
And that would be, just to set expectations, the beta would include matchmaking and characters.
Okay.
It probably won't include the e-commerce yet. I just don't see us getting it done by then. But it would include all the rest of that, including profiles. I don't know if it'll include any social aspects, like being able to put something on a wall or anything like that. We still don't know 100% if we want to support that, especially after Kringa's comments. I'm kidding. But
I understand what you mean.
No, it's a legit concern. It's a legit question because
I mean, you've seen some of the stuff that people like Grimm have gone through
on Twitter. What can I say? This is the only space where you can say something like, "I like watermelons," and then everybody is like, "Oh, but you hate peaches." So,
yep, that's right. Yep. So that's kind of our time frame at the moment.
All right. Well, speaking of time frame, I said we'd just go an hour, so we won't keep you guys too long. But I definitely 100% want to invite you guys back to our Saturday show. when I have our other creators on board, who
Yeah, and like he said earlier, people like Grim or Greg could give you
Yeah.
stuff from a developer standpoint.
Yeah, not only are those guys developers, but they've been involved with a lot of these creator outbursts for a long time, and they can probably give you some more on it, as well as just. I'm going to require people to watch this interview first, because I have a feeling that this interview is going to hit wildfire once the rest of the community finds out what you guys are up to, and they're going to want to jump in on this and get the lowdown. So I'm going to do what I can to help you guys get where you want to be as far as the indie space. I'll get your name out and try to let people know about you, hopefully, and
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I want to help indie creators and out, and like I said, I don't like the direction that Wizards of the Coast has taken the D&D game, especially with D&D Beyond, and the other platforms like Roll20 and all these other things. I find them, very limiting. So I want an open platform for more people to reach out and be able to play games and match make and just spread the hobby around, especially a lot of the indie scene, because before tonight you guys had never heard of Worlds Without Number. Already I've made a connection you guys can look into, and you guys can look at new things.
Demon Lord.
Yeah, Shadow of the Demon Lord. That is another really good game. It's an exceptionally good game.
And the Kickstarter just closed for the, I guess, cleaned up version, which is going to be kind of a second edition of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah, and we're, like I said, this my channel is in contact with a lot of other creators and a lot of other gamer YouTubers. So we're happy to help you guys get support in any way that we can.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Yeah. We love that. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I appreciate the time. I love hearing about these new games to try. We have a big list of a backlog of games we're trying to work our way through right now. Like, we kind of, a group of us, how you do on Discord, we all vote on which games we all want to try, and then we divvy those out. And so we're working through a backlog, but I'm going to add Worlds Without Number and Shadow of the Demon Lord to the list now. So
already
Shadow
did,
of the
Sean.
Demon Lord is, I wouldn't call it a smaller RPG. It's a pretty big, especially the names behind it. Schwab was one of the people who worked on 5th edition, and you could see, once you read Shadow of the Demon Lord, you could see where his, I guess, influences are in 5th edition.
Yeah,
Like
and
the stuff
Pundit
he
worked on
added.
5th edition also.
Yeah, but Pundit's name got taken off. Schwab's didn't.
Yeah.
But like inspiration, you could see where like his input on the inspiration mechanic comes with the Banes and Boons in his own game.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, interesting. Excellent.
And if you like Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, this is, think if D&D and Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay had a baby at a
Death metal concert. That's Shadow of the Demon Lord.
Yeah, that sounds really cool, man.
Creamy loves that game.
Excellent. I'm going to go read about it right after this interview.
All right. Well, guys, I'm really, you don't know how happy I am that I got you on here. And like I said, I'm going to do whatever I can to help get you guys' name out there and hopefully get you some support from the community and the creators. I know that once people start hearing this interview, those creators are going to want to talk to you and ask questions that I know I have missed. And like I said, I definitely want to get you on with our other panelists who will have their own questions. So, I look forward to seeing you guys again, and I definitely look forward to hearing from you guys in the future, because I want to support you.
What was that, Jeff?
Sorry, I said likewise. We appreciate being on here, and we look forward to continuing the conversation.
All right.
Definitely.
Awesome. Thanks for setting up the time and everybody else for hopping on. This has been awesome.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. And thank you guys. And yeah, look at already. Barn Ghoul is a Twitter guy. I know he's going to let people know. Patty's Parlor will let people know, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I guess for just everybody else, you can find us on Twitter at all the RPGs. And then you can also check out our site, alltherpgs.com. Give us your email. You can sign up on our Discord through there. follow along, as that's kind of where our dev vlog is. So you guys can help us, continue to build this out and bring up these interesting points and have great conversations about it.
Yeah, and if you guys want to catch them up on Twitter, I posted up the link in the chat, and it's here up on screen. You guys can catch them up on Twitter. You can DM them. You can, throw stuff at them. Well, hopefully not, hard metal objects or anything. Just questions.
I throw dice.
Yes, you do. You're a dice chunker. But
We'll take the dice.
Excellent.
We'll take the dice.
I only use.
Having a dice.
I also only use metal dice, and I will throw them at people.
Oh wow.
Incredible.
Those are called caltrops.
But thank you all for coming on, and I appreciate your time. All I can say is just have a great night, and I really, really do look forward to hearing from you again, and I definitely look forward to getting you back on this channel.
Excellent. We can't wait. All right. We'll talk to you guys later.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Thank
And-
you.
And everybody out there in YouTube land, thank you for hanging with us. We will see you on Saturday, where we'll have DM Blackwell to talk about Horde Wars.
All right.